What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
All right. We're all set. It's not the best of vibes right now as we start this episode, but what is going on, everybody? Welcome in to episode number 474 of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's KB and Matt coming at you from Underground Studios. Live watch along for the rest of Game 2 of the NLCS, Phillies and Padres. We're going to talk some Eagles. We're going to talk some Union, talk some Sixers. And is optimistic October back on as the Flyers are 3-0 to start 2022-2023. And, of course, we'll talk Survivor at the end of the episode. But before we get started, make sure you guys are following us on the socials, Twitter and Instagram at UndergroundPHI. Once we hit 3K on Twitter, which we are very close to doing, shout out to Brandon Marsh's DMX karaoke at Xfinity Live. That video went crazy and whole bunch of new people started following us. So once we get to 3K, we have a big giveaway in the works. So come on through and follow us on Twitter at UndergroundPHI. Follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Castorina. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Check out the website, undergroundsportsphiladelphia.com, for all of our written content. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. It helps more people find the show, helps more people get in conversation with us about our favorite sports teams. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, where you get full video episodes of all your favorite Underground Sports Philadelphia podcasts. We're on that road to 1K subscribers over there as well, currently sitting at 255. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, smash that like button, ring the bell icon, and comment down below how you're feeling about the Phils being in the NLCS, the Eagles, Sixers, Flyers, Union, you name it. Drop it in the comment section below. Big thank you to our sponsors, Main Auto LLC, Ducharme's Pro Foot, Security 21 Security Systems, Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated, and the Dental Wellness Center of Vineland. Tomahawk Shades, best small batch eyewear in the game. You guys should be rocking your Tomahawk Shades Blue Light Plus glasses during all the baseball playoffs, during every NFL Sunday. Go to tomahawkshades.com and use code USP for 25% off your order. What's going on, Matt?
Living the dream. So
bit of a nightmare, but as we have said time and time again on this show, a nightmare is technically a dream, as Bryce Harper is up to bat right now in Game 2 of the NLCS. Phil's trailing 7-4. But, Matt, since the last time we recorded, the Phillies in the NLCS just absolutely washed the Braves, and they take Game 1 of the NLCS on Tuesday night. Kyle Schwarber hits the second longest home run in the StatCast era history, creates a new Bryce Harper meme. Harper also goes deep in that game, and the biggest thing was that the Phillies once again stole a game on the road, and, you know, we'll see how this Game 2 ends up going. Obviously not the best of vibes, but Bryce Harper just got under one, and it's off the wall. You get 3 in Philadelphia, which I think is the biggest takeaway, you know, from a best-of-7 in baseball, the way that it goes, where it's 2-3-2. If the road team is able to steal one of those 2 games, the entire series flips in your favor.
yeah, especially, you know, if they're able to really, really pull one out tonight and get a 2-0 lead to coming back home. But I would like to reflect first on the Braves series,
Yes,
because we didn't have the chance to do that, and just like an electric feeling. Have not felt that way about the Phillies in such a long time. Like, as an adult, I have not felt like that about the Phillies. I was a child the last time they were entertaining me that way. The JT inside the park home run was, I think, again, if you're talking about these little vignettes and moments that could be part of the compilation of something really special at the end of this, that's another one. And
the Reese bat spike.
Oh my god!
Talk to the people, Matt.
That
What went through your veins when Reese threw that bat on the ground?
I can remember Bryce Harper's walk-off grand slam and Kruk's like, "Ow!"
Oh my god!
that's like the feeling that I was actually speechless. But like if I could have emitted a sound, it would have sounded something like that. It was just guttural, and it was just great. And that felt like a real like cleansing of the Phillies of the last few seasons. And I would say going into that series, I felt like you were playing with house money a little bit. Now it really feel, but now it starts to also feel like you take game one of the NLCS, you actually start to like think about like making the World Series, about winning the World Series. You know, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but like it reaches a certain balance point where it's no longer we're just happy to be here, and it's like no, like you don't know when you'll be back in the NLCS,
right?
So it'd be nice to win it. It'd be nice to take advantage while you're here, and things have fallen for you the way they have. Also, couldn't stand the discourse about how the seeding worked and how.
Oh my god!
If you're the top seed, I guess you should only have to win one game to advance or something. I don't know what.
Well, no, the playoffs should be abolished, and if you win the most games in the regular season, you're just crowned the champion.
Listen, I wouldn't hate. It's kind of funny that baseball doesn't have something like that, whereas like hockey has like the President's Trophy. In the MLS, you have the Supporter Shield, and some like European leagues too. Like that's you win. That's it. You know, if you're the best over the regular season. I'm kind of surprised baseball doesn't have something to like show like, hey, you had the best record in baseball in the regular season.
Surprised every sport doesn't really have that.
It doesn't really make sense. But also the advantage you get is 5 days of rest.
That it seems like nobody could take advantage of.
Except for the Astros.
Yeah.
Weird how no Astros fan is complaining about this, but all the Mets, hilarious.
Yankees are totally fine.
Yankees are fine, and I bet they'll like play. It's just your advantage is that you get to reset your rotation and get to face the team's third or fourth choice pitcher against your top pitcher. Your bullpen gets to be completely rested. Everyone gets completely rested, and you get the first 2 games at home. What other advantage do you want? I'm like lukewarm to the idea of teams getting to choose their own opponents, but I also think that's lame. Like, I'm sorry.
Agreed.
Also, like, it sucks. Yeah, I'm sure it sucks when you win 100+ games and you get bounced by a team.
Maybe play better when the lights come on.
Maybe play better, and that has also happened to literally every team in the history of time.
Yep. You didn't see us in 2011 saying, "Oh, the playoffs are terrible because 102 win Phillies team didn't advance."
You can get mad about the result, but like wanting to like abolish the system is like so lame. It was so stupid when there's 3 or 4 teams making the playoffs. Should we just go back to the top team in each league just automatically advances to the World Series, and that's it? There's your World Series. Like, that's the way these people talk. It's just exhausting. So I'm glad our first postseason series against a division team is a win, and it was the Braves. That felt great. And yeah, it just felt like the Phillies I went to like another level in that series. Like it was beyond what we had seen from them even in that Cardinal series. So,
and then they took the party to Xfinity Live, celebrating with fans. Bryce Harper popping champagne bottles up on that top deck at Xfinity Live. Brandon Marsh doing DMX karaoke, signing Zyn containers for fans, which was absolutely hilarious. But Matt, I do have one of our new favorite things to do on this show is old-time baseball player names. So this is from at Phillies Notes, which is like the Phillies official like stats keeping account, and like their comms department provides all the info. So 7 pitchers in MLB history have started their postseason careers 2-0 with 0 earned runs allowed and 6+ innings pitched in their first 2 starts. This list comes due to Aaron Nola accomplishing this feat. Can you even guess who the closest? I'll give you the date of the closest to Aaron Nola. It's 2016.
2016. That probably would have been blanking. No idea.
Day Kluber is the most recent to do it. And then the following
who was he on the Cubs?
He was with Cleveland.
Cleveland that year.
And then in 1991, Steve Avery did it. In 1983, Mike Bodicker. 1933.
Bodicker, hardly know her.
In 1933, Carl Hubble.
That's who they named the Hubble telescope after, actually. So.
In 1921, Waite Hoyt,
Wait.
Waite. And then in 1905, everybody's favorite pitcher, Christy Mathewson, accomplished that feat.
Yeah, all names, all names to be sure. Yeah, I mean Nolan not so much today, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
I mean Wheeler has been unreal.
Unbelievable.
Nola outside of this, I don't want to call it a collapse, but just that.
This is his first bad start in over a month.
Yeah, not spectacular. But I mean, even before that inning, really didn't put much wrong, but it was just really unfortunate, and that just snowballed into something worse, and that could be the focal point of why the Phillies lose this game. But Wheeler was spectacular last night in Game 1. Darvish was too. Like, it was a great pitcher's duel. Just again, like, Darvish makes like 2 mistakes, and Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber punish him for that, and so it's a fun series so far, and I'm looking forward to coming back to Philly. I'll tell you that. That'll be great. But yeah, it's frustrating in some ways. Just the way today is gone, but still had the potential at least to.
Still a lot of baseball left.
Still a lot of baseball left. I mean, this Phillies team. Let's not forget this postseason run started being 2-0 down in the 9th inning to the Cards. And I don't know how many people would have picked them to win that game and then go on to win that series and beat it. So I don't know. It's too early to say anything yet. I think you'd already say, like, even if you lose tonight, going back to Philly, the series being even is a huge advantage to have for yourself, and I think that's already mission accomplished on what you wanted to do. Taking 2 would be fantastic, but
right.
taking 1 is great. It's a great feeling.
And it's the same feeling we had in that Braves series when the Phillies won Game 1 and then lost Game 2, and it was like this gut punch. But if you would have told us, hey, the Phillies take one of the games in Atlanta, everybody's signing up for that because you feel way more confident about this team at home. I feel like a lot of people felt the same way about this. If you take one in San Diego, you're coming back to Philly for 3 games where you, again, have a chance to clinch at home. You're a much better home team than you are on the road, and you saw the environment that the postseason was in Philadelphia for those 2 games against the Braves. It was unlike anything we had ever seen. Like, Ken Rosenthal was getting emergency alerts on his phone about possible hearing loss because of how loud the audio decibels were. Like, we have been waiting for that moment for so long, and now it's only going to continue to progress when we get back home, because the nice part about this series is it's happening during an Eagles bye week. Everybody's going to be locked in on the Phillies, and everyone's going to give their full attention to this team when they get back home.
Yeah, it was a really good weekend. Really good weekend. But yeah, it's I think that too, like, you have to say the atmosphere played a hand in that Braves series. I think it'd be foolish to not say so. Like, I haven't seen the Braves that rattled. I mean, honestly, like, I've never seen, like, Charlie Morton is like one of the best, like, elimination game pitchers in the playoffs ever, and like was just done. Like, just got absolutely thrashed, which, like,
and granted, did get hit on the elbow, so
sure,
they were precautionary with that, but
still, like, even before that, it's not like, the Phillies weren't making any contact. Right. Like, I don't know, like, there's something about that environment that I think is hard for. It's not easy to walk into that atmosphere. That's why home field advantage is a thing. Come on, Gene, beat him out. Yeah, Sir Anthony Dominguez in 4 appearances.
Phoenix Rising.
Just unreal. Christ alive. In 4 appearances this postseason, 4.2 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 runs, 10 strikeouts. So
he and Alvarado have been
unreal.
Unbelievable.
Who would have thought? Not me.
And I mean, even in moments like Andrew Bellotti has been fantastic this postseason. Like, just some of the unsung heroes for this team. Like, Bryson Stott's been great. Brandon Marsh hits a home run in that clinching game against the Braves. Like, Matt Vierling has been unbelievable when he plays. It's one of those things where, like, just feels different, as soon as the postseason got here, like, this team. And I said this on Monday's episode, like, I think the best thing that happened to this Phillies team was having that 14-game road trip together, because you're on the road together. You're around these guys and have to be around these guys, and it just builds team camaraderie together that you can't teach that. You can't just hand that out to somebody. Like, those are moments that bring teams together, or it makes them fall apart. And in this instance, I think it's really brought the Phillies together as a team.
Yeah. And I think too, like, you faced a lot of adversity on that trip too, and I think it's no surprise either that the Phillies have been able to go on the road and get big wins, you know, in the playoffs so far. Every series they've been able to go on the road and win at least one game so far, and that's not many teams can say that. You know, like it's not a regular thing. You know, that you have a 3-game wild card, all of them away from home, and you win that series 2-0, and you go to one of your division rivals and take game 1, and you know, you do that on the road and a place that you haven't played that well in, a team that is certainly, I would say, in the regular season was a better team than the Phillies, but it didn't show that in the postseason. So there is something to be said, I think, about like, and we talked too about the series and does rest actually benefit you or not, you know, and that it's actually more like a coin flip, you know, still even when you have that rest. So there's something to the playoffs about having some momentum, which the Phillies have had so far.
And who the
Padres have too, we should say. You know, everything
100%.
we're saying about the Phillies, you could pretty much say about the Padres, which is why I think this is going to be a really, really interesting series.
And who would have thought, you know, your Final Four in baseball are probably your 2 favorites in the American League with the Astros and the Yankees, and then the 5 and 6 seed in the National League with the Padres and Phillies.
And just as we all drew it up.
That's how everybody's postseason bracket started back in March. And I mean, guys have just stepped up. Like, Bryce Harper is a mutant right now.
Bryce Harper, you could make the case, has been like the postseason MVP.
Easily. Like, it's like him and Yordan Alvarez have been 2 of the hottest hitters in all of baseball in the postseason. And here is
Josh Allen.
He's turning into the LeBron James of the NFL. Because Josh Allen has been, before his
he's from California though, isn't he?
I think, but there was, I think his rookie year, he went to Yankee Stadium, was rocking a Yankees jersey, and then last season he was in Toronto throwing out the first pitch in a Blue Jays jersey. Now he's in it's like, come on, pal, like, figure it out.
He's from Faribault, California, so there's at least a chance that the Padres were like his team growing up, but I mean, come on.
Some gross vibes there. Philly's still trailing 7-4, bottom of the 6th now. Connor Brogdon into pitch. If you're watching live, we are going to do some watch along for you. But I mean, again, like we said, if you told us at the beginning of this series the Phillies split in San Diego,
okay,
first 2
Faribault, California is almost 6 hours away from San Diego.
Get out!
I mean, California's a big ass state. It's closer to LA than it is.
Yeah.
It's closer to like it's like NorCal. Okay.
Get out of here.
Okay, we get it.
This guy.
Trevor Hoffman, great. let's put some of that stink in the air. Shout out to Josh Allen. Good for him.
But I think if you would have
told us, I hope he goes home very disappointed tonight.
If you would have told us we split, we'd sign up for that 100 times out of 100.
Everyone is going to lie to themselves and say, "Oh, we should." But like, if you would offered that, like blindfolded, at the beginning of the series, you're taking that every time. Sorry, but you just are.
And it's just nice that we're one of the last 4 standing right now.
Feels good. Feels good to be like a team that everyone's watching and discussing. It's weird when you listen to like, I don't know, like other like sports podcasts, and they just touch about like playoff baseball and stuff, and it's like they mention the Phillies, and it's just bizarre.
Yeah,
because I also wasn't listening to podcasts the last time. Speaking of things that have changed since
they didn't exist.
They did, but like no one understood.
No one knew what the podcast app was on the iPhone, the iPod Touch.
I was like, I think it's radio, but I'm not sure. I think you can listen to old Around the Horn episodes on there. I think that was my first podcast experience. Was Pardon the Interruption and Around the Horn would get saved as a podcast.
Now, we might have just had the vibe slip a little bit. People behind home plate started doing the wave.
That's, I got to tell you, I would expect that of a coastal city like San Diego.
Yes.
but
now,
not
how are
for
we
me.
feeling about this broadcast? Because a lot of people have said that Joe Davis and John Smoltz throughout this run, because they've called all of the Phillies series, I believe, have been very biased towards the home teams not named the Phillies.
I haven't felt that. I think I'm also like the complete opposite with people and like hating on broadcast and stuff. Like I've always loved Joe Buck. I've always thought Joe Buck is good.
I think Joe Davis is doing a great job, and I expected in the Braves series for Smoltz to be biased because he pitched for the Braves.
Right. And I didn't think that he was. I don't think he's said anything like that I can remember. And I think to me that says he's been fine. I think people hear what they want to hear from commentators. And I just think of this all the time. Literally every fan thinks every commentator for every sports hates their team and loves whatever team they're playing. Everyone. And that can't possibly be true because it just doesn't. It
only
even
gets
out.
worse because the Phillies are losing right now. Right. So you're gonna,
people
take everything to an extreme.
People pick up on what would normally just be like a normal comment and think it's like this guy John Smoltz should never commentate the Phillies again, all that kind of stuff. And
I thought that got out.
Okay, so I don't know if this is just a me thing or what. I've had a really hard time with like home runs and fly balls this postseason. I don't know if I'm just like not reading the game, but there's been a few times where like, oh, that's a fly ball.
Yep.
And it's like, that is not a fly ball.
That Darno
or like,
run.
oh, that's gone, and it like just dies. It like doesn't even make it a warning track or something. So, I don't know. Maybe we need like a different camera angle, something like that. But yeah, I think everyone always thinks every commentator hates their team and loves the other team, no matter what, no matter the sport. You can just never win with that. I think there are some bad commentators like across sport. Yeah, that's reasonable to say, but I haven't felt that there's been any like severe bias. But I'm also not the person to really like pick up on that.
Also, since we love the run differential stat so much, the Phillies all time have the second best home run differential in the first 25 postseason games played at a certain stadium, dating back to October 1st, 2007, which was the first postseason game at Citizens Bank Park. Only team better was the 1925 to 1927 Yankees, who had one more run than the Phillies have.
That was a pretty good Yankees team, I think, too.
Little bit.
That had Schwarby Parker and Holmes Springsteen. Yeah, so turns out Philly's pretty good at home in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, if today is just a wash, like fine, you have 3 opportunities now to go at home and take care of business.
Yeah, I'm excited to have them back in Philly, and
it probably means another Wheeler start too.
Yeah,
for Game 5.
Yeah, you could probably get Wheeler back for Game 5. Because I think he had an extra day of rest, right, for this series?
I want to say, and then you have tomorrow's a travel day, which would be 2 days off for him. Game 3 is supposed to be Ranger. Game 4 is Syndergaard, and then I think Game 5 would be Wheeler again.
Should we get there? I should say. Still on the TBD schedule here, so yeah, looking forward to it. It's been great. Playoffs have been great. I'm weirdly looking forward to even watching like the Astros-Yankees.
Yeah,
it's weird what happens when your team is in it. How much more you care.
I was just saying that too.
How much more invested you are.
And it feels like the playoffs have been like that much like more entertaining this year.
Yes. Mostly again because when the Phillies have not been in, like
you're paying closer attention.
I'll catch it. I'll catch the highlights or something. I'm not gonna like take time out of my day to watch the games.
And like some of the games have just been insane. Like the 18 inning marathon between the Astros and the Mariners. The Josh Naylor running around the bases after he gets stones.
Just absolute like psychopath behavior.
And then Yankees fans last night doing it back to him when he struck out. Like unbelievable how like the scenes of this postseason have been incredible.
Yeah, been a lot of fun.
And then you get the Goose and the Dodgers Padres series.
I gotta say, I don't like playing a team with a plucky team with an animal, with a rally animal. That has just historically not been kind to us. So
I will say, Alex Coffey tweeted today that it was very weird, and it wasn't even the weirdest thing she saw was that two members of the Padres had a goose like in a cage, and it wasn't the same goose. It was a white goose. She was like, this is just very strange, and it's not the strangest thing I've seen today.
Okay, well, I'd like to hear what those other strange things are, because I don't know what gets weirder than that, to be honest. But
And also shout out to the Phillies press box ice cream guy. He ordered ice cream earlier in the week for this coming week because he said that he knew the Phillies were going to win. He's like, I'm a witch. I can see into the future.
How about next week? What's next week looking like?
And I think his name is Mikey Two Scoops.
Oh God, love it. Hey Mikey, what is I don't know, just it's like November 2nd looking like, like just ice cream wise.
What's on the menu?
What are we thinking there?
Also, loving that Dancing on My Own has become the rallying cry.
Yeah, I hope that sticks around because it's a banger.
It's a certified banger. And I think at some point, Callum Scott throws out a first pitch, one way or another, whether it's
or Robin. I would like.
Yeah, I would
honestly,
take that too.
Take them both,
or all three, like Robin, Callum Scott, and
like
Tiesto.
a Dixie Chicks situation. Or I guess they're just the chicks now, but
and everybody was taking polls and stuff, so I figured we'd try to make our bets too, because Victorino, Pat Burrell throughout the pitches for Game 3 and 4 against the Braves. So everyone's trying to predict who's going to do it for Games 3, 4, and TBD Game 5 at home. I feel like Jimmy Rollins is going to be one of them. Like, he's around. He works for the team, obviously, so he's around. A lot of people were saying Chase Utley, but my man is trying to establish residency in London right now to grow the game for baseball in London. So I don't know how readily available Chase Utley will be for the NLCS. I said it should be Rollins, Ryan Howard, Matt Stairs.
Matt Stairs for Game 5 would be. What's Joe Blanton doing? Where's Blanton?
Yeah, where's Blanton?
Blanton would be sick. Yeah, I think especially having like Rollins and Howard would be good. I mean, just keep doing it till we run out of like 2008 Phillies.
Right. Now, something that would be incredible, hopefully we get to the World Series, something that would be absolutely insane would to unearth Cliff Lee for one of the first pitches for the World Series.
He just steps out of like a cryo chamber.
Just comes up from the bottom of.
What has Cliff Lee been doing?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Like apparently he gets invited to all the alumni weekends and just never responds.
Huh.
Like, has just gone off the grid.
You know what though? Like, quiet quitting. Respect it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm good actually. I don't.
And you guys can probably make your prop bet there for who's going to throw out the first pitches for the NLCS for the Phillies at playpickup.com. It's the best place to play, the hottest headlines in sports. You rack up points on your fan profiles, cash them in for prizes on the pickup marketplace. That's playpickup.com. As Connor Brogdon just struck out Juan Soto. I mean, I also think Cole Hamels could be on the table for the NLCS, if not the World Series. A lot of people think they're saving like the 1980s guys for the World Series.
Mike Schmidt throwing out the first pitch.
Schmidt,
John. I know he's not eight, but John Kruk throwing out the first pitch, and then he just like snaps into a hot dog.
Oh my God! I mean, and also, did you see the recreation of the Larry Anderson video from back in the day when he was yelling at the kids that were Braves fans?
No.
Oh man, I got to show you this video. This was fantastic stuff. So back in the day, the Phillies were playing the Braves in Atlanta, and Larry Anderson is like hanging over the guardrail of the dugout, and it's like, Braves are gonna lose. Braves are gonna lose. We're gonna kill them. We're gonna kill them. And then they recreated it when they were in Atlanta.
Braves are gonna lose. Yes, they are. Braves are gonna lose. We're gonna kill the Braves. We're gonna kill them. We're gonna kill them. Braves are gonna lose. Yeah, we're gonna kill them. We're gonna kill them. Braves are gonna lose. Braves are gonna lose.
I gotta say I'm not like a avid live TV watcher. If and most of the sports that I enjoy have very limited ads. Like soccer, I just walk away during halftime usually. Did not miss commercials. Do not miss or love the fact that we're obviously in like an election year, and looking at the ads right now, it's just
they are dude. Even growing up, I've said this a number of, like, when we were young, I don't remember the egregious amount of election commercials.
I think they were there. I think just when you're like younger, you don't notice it as much. It's like with everything, like you're just not as aware.
But it feels like it's every other commercial now.
It is because we're like 3 weeks out, and it's exhausting. We already know who we're voting for,
right? Good grief!
I don't need to see another Dr. Oz commercial.
Oh my god!
I don't need to
see the sign. Game 4, Harper for governor.
Much rather. Although
well,
actually maybe maybe not. Don't meet your heroes, and don't encourage them to
run for office.
Run for, say, I don't know, a Senate seat in Georgia, and give them, I don't know, maybe a special badge that they can wear that they think is totally real. Don't meet your heroes. They'll disappoint you.
Phils are up to bat now. Hopefully they strike some magic here.
Okay, so did you see this? Because I don't know what to call it. I saw someone call it a SPORTSGASM, and I think other people call it maybe a little more like safe for the children, a sports equinox. But it's a Philly SPORTSGASM because it's never happened before either, where all 5 teams are active at the same time. The Union, the Flyers, the Sixers, the Eagles, and the Phillies. And the Union play tomorrow night. They have their playoff game. So I just thought that was interesting. Because
that is interesting.
Really, the last time it was available to be done, the Union weren't even a team yet. So, or we're just starting out.
When did the Union?
2011.
Okay.
So yeah, just missed, or it was 2010 to 2011, I think. But because they just had their like 10-year anniversary. But yeah, never happened before. So we had our first Phillies. I like SPORTSGASM.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, if you want to be more distinguished,
I saw another thing too. This time in 1980, the Phillies had just won the World Series, and the Eagles improved to 6-0 by beating the Cowboys in the year that they ended up going to the Super Bowl
and
the first time.
Entered a global recession. So
not the first time that the Phillies have been on fire like
well,
this.
If the Phillies don't make it happen, our Fed surely will. But, yeah, it's been exciting. It's been exciting having. Every day now is like something to watch. I could barely watch the Sixers last night.
I didn't even really like
watch the first half, and then I was like, I gotta just watch the Phils.
Entering today, the Phillies are 27-2 in franchise postseason history when leading by 4 or more runs.
Okay, well, still 2 more.
Still a lot of baseball.
2 more innings to make it happen. Union play tomorrow. They play Cincinnati.
Sixers home opener,
which is great. Didn't go so great for the Sixers in Boston, but
never does.
What good things happen in Boston, and why the hell, fresh hell, do we have to? Every season, I feel like we have to start off in Boston. I know it actually isn't that way, but it feels that way.
It's like it feels like we play Charlotte like 4 times in October.
I will say I feel like 2 out of the last 3 seasons at least we have opened in Boston, which is just 100%. Like, can we get one of those at all? I don't know. Or can we just play anyone else? Like,
I'd rather start off against like Houston.
I'd rather, that'd be great. Problem is Phillies we get the Bucks tomorrow, which is just like
no sick. Chris Middleton.
Yeah, but still not.
Yeah, still not great, but
like I treat home openers like you do like homecoming in high school.
Yeah.
Like you play a cupcake team because you want to win.
Right.
You want them to go home happy. So, that's a little frustrating, but yeah, hard to even like. Already like early season NBA is hard to really sink your teeth into, but hard to really like give them my full undivided attention. If I'm being honest.
Big time tough. But yeah, you look at the way that the vibes are going right now with Philly. Like, I can't even remember a time where even like Phillies and Eagles were lining up this well, side by side. The Eagles improved to 6-0. And Matt, this segment brought to you by a new partner of ours. It's PHI Apparel Company. We have merch, Matt. Merch is back, everybody. And Underground Sports Philadelphia is brought to you by PHI Apparel Company. They provide unique designs and high-quality clothing for the great fans of Philadelphia. With their original designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out in the crowd. You guys can go to phiapparel.co. That's phiapparel.co, and use promo code UNDERGROUND for 10% off any apparel when you shop online at phiapparel.co. That's promo code UNDERGROUND for 10% off at phiapparel.co. And Matt, they've got some fantastic shirts on there. They got some new ones coming out. We're going to have our own Underground Sports Philadelphia designs on their website as well in the very near future. So shout out to PHI Apparel Co. For partnering up with us. But Eagles improved to 6-0, beat the Cowboys. It's funny how the narrative flipped from, Cooper Rush is the next coming of Steve Young to, the Eagles beat a backup quarterback.
That's how it always goes.
Always does.
That's how it could have told you that before. They have a built-in excuse, but a win is a win. Crucial division win, especially because the Giants just keep
out of nowhere,
just keep winning every game somehow. Yes, I mean just keeping that pace, and now that's it. I mean, because they don't play the Cowboys again until Week 16, and it is not inconceivable that game could mean nothing. Like if the Eagles keep playing the way they do, having that tiebreaker already over them could be huge, and good win. Way to do it on prime time as well, Sunday night. That has been the Eagles have played well in all their like big stages so far this year. Like they've really impressed, and I think nationally too, people are catching on to that. How good they've looked, and impressive performance defensively too. I think again, Bradbury and Slay are quite the quarterback combo.
CJ Gardner-Johnson had
his
breakout game. They just look like they're clicking on all cylinders, and coming out of the bye, you have I think 3 of their 4 in November are in prime time. You have the game coming out is against the Steelers at home. Then you have short week against the Texans on Thursday Night Football. Monday night against the Carson Wentzless Washington Commanders now. And then you get the Packers on Sunday Night Football in Philly, which going into the season, you and I, when we were doing our wins-loss breakdown, like that was one where we were like unsure. The Packers look like a total mess right now. And not the team that I think a lot of people expected them to be.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers wasn't practicing today with a hurt finger either. It's Wednesday, so, whatever. But, yeah, they have not looked good. Offensively, they've looked very bad, and especially defensively, too. They let Devontae Adams go. They trade him with the idea that they free up money to, like, invest in their defense, both in picks and re-signing some guys, and that hasn't totally paid off so far either this season. And yeah, not the place that you expected them to be in. That game I think we looked at in the beginning of the season in a much different way than we do now. But still, I think everything kind of rings true for the Eagles, and the quality and strength of their schedule going forward is not challenging. It's there. There are a lot of winnable games, and that's good.
Yeah. Nick Sirianni right now is the favorite to win Coach of the Year, which, I mean, rightfully so. I know a lot of people are saying Brian Daboll right now, but it's pretty tough to argue Nick Sirianni, especially like if you're just looking strictly on paper. Like the Eagles schedule the rest of the way, like maybe they lose 1-2 games on paper. You don't know what the Giants are going to be, especially because like it seems like they're winning games in spite of Daniel Jones, which you never want to do in the NFL. You don't want to win games in spite of your quarterback.
If you have Daniel Jones as your quarterback, it's probably actually the way you're
formula.
Gonna do it.
But I mean, it is it's nice for the Eagles to be 6-0 going into the bye. Like, is something that I think a lot of people felt could happen, weren't sure. You know, obviously the Cowboys game was there. You had the Cardinals, who are always pesky, and you hadn't won in Arizona since 2001. The Vikings on the schedule, who the Eagles are their only loss. So I mean, for the Eagles to be at the bye week, get fresh, get healthy, kind of at the midway point of the season, being undefeated is pretty damn cool.
Yeah. I think the Dolphins gotta be 72 Dolphins gotta be a little worried, right?
A little worried.
They,
Champagne's on ice, baby. Also, having Meek Mill perform pregame,
smart move.
you were not going to lose that game.
Smart move.
Did
Did feel like they pulled out a lot of the stops though, for just not that it was only a week 6 game, but like felt like we really.
Yeah.
It's like they bring like. You expect the big like fireworks show for like July 4th, and it's like a random June Saturday night, and like Wildwood is just going all out. It's like it feels like you could save some of this for July, the firework time. But
Yeah.
shout out to them, I guess, for really not letting anything be held back.
And
Felt like a playoff move. That's all I'll say.
did.
And I don't
It did.
hate it, but it's like probably could have just saved that for like January.
I feel like the playoff move would have been Meek at halftime.
Yeah.
But also, did you see the fan that ran out of the tunnel
I
with
did.
the Eagles? And every single player who was asked about it thought it was like the guy won like an auction or like a Make-A-Wish thing.
If you walk like you know where you're going and like you are meant to be there, you'll be shocked at the places you can end up. There's a great, I mean, it was scripted, obviously, but God, now I can't remember it. It was a TV show on MTV when I was in high school, and it was The Bucket List, I think it was what it was called, or maybe it had like a better name than that. But essentially that, it was like a bunch of like young dudes who like had like a bucket list, and so for like every time they like knocked something off their bucket list, they would also help someone, like a random person, with like either a bucket list thing or something like in their life that was like affecting them, like reuniting them with like a family member or something. And like a lot of their things were like, I think one was like to get like a date with Taylor Swift, and the guy like snuck into like the VMAs. And I mean, it's all like scripted, so they like just had him walk in there. But they like, it's true. Like if you just like act like you know where you're going. Anytime I think of that, I think of that joke so often. They were just like, how the hell are we supposed to get into the Playboy Mansion? It's like, well, just I don't know, lie. Like, and it works. Like it just works.
And David Robertson is back from his strained
Old man
calf. Old man D-Rob. But yeah, I mean, you look at that, and then you shift focus now. I think it's cool that the Phillies have their travel day Thursday to now have focus on the Union postseason game, which is brought to you by Bino Board. You guys can go to binoboard.com. That's BINHOBOARD.com, and use code BINOUSP for 10% off your order. They're dropping new boards every single week leading up to the World Cup, and I'm pretty sure this week's or this past week was Team Mexico, and it might be the coolest one yet, Matt. This Friday this one drops. Here's Team Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico. They redid their like federation crest, and they have some very, very clean looking jerseys for the World Cup. I'm a little jealous of how interesting they get with some of their stuff. I wish the USA would follow suit a little bit, but yeah, you didn't get FC Cincinnati tomorrow, Thursday night. It's an off day for the Phillies. I know it's obviously the home opener for the Sixers, but exciting game, and not the best opponent.
Yeah.
It's kind of the one that I think everyone sort of wanted to avoid. I think if we're in the whatever weird psycho hell they want for the MLB where you can pick your own opponent. Actually, I don't know that you'd pick NYCFC either, so I guess it kind of has.
Well, it would have
worked
been the Red Bulls, right? Or do they reseed?
Like if you like got to like reseed it and
okay.
like pick whoever you wanted, like out of like the remaining, you'd get the choice in Cincinnati and NYCFC. So, I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. Cincinnati, the problem is they just have a very similar style to the Union, and the way the Union plays not great against teams that play in a similar way, because you kind of want teams to dominate the ball a little bit, and open up space, and that's how the Union have been so like destructive at times, especially on the counter so much this season. And they've been good at that press, and when you have a team that is sort of looking to do the exact same thing to you, you end up, and you saw it for a lot of that game against Cincinnati and New York Red Bulls, where there's a lot of just like dead space and a lot of empty possession. And, you get like an explosion of goals in the last like 15 minutes from Cincinnati to win it. But, I still think the Union are, Christ. Well, we'll see you in Philadelphia, folks.
Yeah, it is now 8-4 Padres.
It's just, I still think the Phillies, Christ, the Union are certainly good enough to beat Cincinnati, and you have that home field advantage. I think the only worry too is Bedoya has been a little unclear if he's going to be playing. He's been like working off to the side a lot in training, and the news doesn't sound like overly positive about him. But Union are unbeaten in 17 home games, so we'll take it. And I think they're the better team. You have to have faith in that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them hopefully progress to Eastern Conference Finals.
And then today, announced by the mayor of Philadelphia, Tyrese Maxey, that Andre Blake wins goalkeeper of the year in the MLS, and Glesnes wins defender of the year. And obviously Andre Blake also up for the MVP award. And a lot of people in the MLS community up in arms that Gazdag was snubbed.
For MVP, yeah. Mukhtar was always going to win it, unfortunately. He's just had like an unreal season, got the golden boot, and it's just been so much the focal point. I think if Gazdag had it sort of like came on, around like June of this year, and I think if he has like the more like full season of that, he also is probably winning the golden boot. And therefore probably, I think it's a little more favor in his eyes. But I think Mukhtar is like such a central focus of his team. I think that's why he gets an MVP award, which is a bit of a bummer. But you can't sweep them all, and you got to have some motivation potentially for next year. Although Gazdag could be leaving in the winter. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility that this is his last stretch as a Union player. So. But yeah, it's so good that you have guys that are competing for like multiple individual awards and a lot of like team awards and things like that. Like that just speaks obviously to the quality that the Union have.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were saying, why Gazdag wasn't even nominated for the award, because they had to put somebody of name into it. Oh Jesus. And
just get it all out now. Get all the
bad toxicity done. Ay. But I mean, you and I talked last week. We said we want to avoid Cincinnati. They're who comes through, and like you said, I mean, the Union are unbeaten at home this year, which I think is a good sign. I think the crowd is going to be just as electric down at Subaru Park on Thursday night, because it's one of, if not the best home field advantage in all of MLS.
Yeah, really. I mean, every team now that's left has a pretty spectacular home field advantage. Austin, who like everyone who went to Austin's first playoff game got like a really cool like Yeti mug, because they're obviously sponsored by Yeti. That's their shirt sponsor, which is really cool. But even like Montreal, LAFC, you have El Tráfico, and LAFC and LA Galaxy in the Western Conference there, and that semifinal matchup. So all four teams hosting have like a pretty renowned home field advantage. So that's exciting. Looking forward to seeing what wrench gets thrown into that.
Man, I mean, when it comes down to it, I think the Union still have the advantage to win in the matchup against Cincinnati, but it is the playoffs. Anything can happen, but I still feel pretty confident about them pulling away with a win.
Absolutely. I'd still back them 100%, and I think we'll be back in the conference finals, which is what this team deserves and what their talent level is at. That's where they should be.
Also, now that he's retired, it is pretty wild that everyone is now tabbing Jay Wright to do a whole lot of stuff. Like Jay Wright was just in the stands at the clinching game for the Phillies, not in a box or anything. He does the voiceover for the Union hype video that comes out today. He seems to be, just putting himself into the city of Philadelphia more and more now that he doesn't have to worry about coaching Villanova.
Yeah. I think he's probably just cool, just chilling.
Yeah.
I think when you retire from like just one of the best jobs that you could have like in your career, it's like, I don't know what else you do after that besides just whatever you want. So good for him.
Or he's just waiting around because it came out today, Matt, that the odds for the first coach to get fired in the NBA this season, it's Steve Nash is the favorite, and then Doc Rivers is number 2.
I wish, but it won't happen. Doc Rivers, this is a total not fired until May type of situation.
Unless it gets real bad.
And I mean, if it has to get that bad, like, I don't know. I just, clearly the team is like stuck with him and is now stuck with him. So
hopefully they get it done against Milwaukee, but you never know. And then somehow, some way, we didn't think we'd be talking about these guys, but Philadelphia Flyers are 3-0 to start the season, 3-0 in the John Tortorella era, and they're playing incredibly, like, on paper, like, playoff teams that are favored to obviously always get to the Stanley Cup final, and winning games in comeback fashion. They're like not quitting, and it is unreal to me that this team is 3-0 because everybody thought this team was just going to be bad. This was a beginning of a actual rebuild, and they're 3-0 now.
Talk about a team I have not watched a second of.
Same.
These motherfuckers.
It's unreal.
They are like such a problem child.
Yeah.
That it's like when you don't have your eyes on them, all of a sudden they want to do well. And it's like, okay, like we spent some time together, and it's like drop 6 out of 7. No thanks. I'm not falling for this siren call yet again. I'm not running my ship into
this happens every October.
Into the shallow seas.
No matter who is the coach at the helm, no matter who's on the roster, this happens every October that this team decides to get off to a hot start, and then they fall by the wayside come, Black Friday. But hey, good for them, 3-0, and they just want to be part of the good vibes party. We'll see how that all breaks down as, obviously the Phillies and the Eagles and the Union have our full undivided attention, and then we'll get to the Sixers when, it's time to fully worry about them. And then also I talked about this on Monday's show. Our guy Mike Scott signed to go play in France. Back on the court.
Allez-vous, François?
I did message him on Instagram to congratulate him. He hit me with a thanks, boss. But happy to see him back out there. I know this summer he was, full-blown getting back into training mode. He was posting, his workout videos on Instagram a ton. So happy to see him get back out on the court. And Matt, Survivor, it's another week. It's brought to you by our pals over at Kenwood Beer. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com, use that all-new and improved Kenny tracker to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia area. You got to be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, always please drink responsibly. Another week in the books. Coco goes to their first tribal council. And, paranoia gets the best of you when it comes to voting time. And they send Lindsay home. And all I had to say was I was just happy that James was safe.
Yeah, I was glad, too, that James seems to be, like, not only just the focal point of Alliance, but he was, like, the one, like, reaching out to Lindsay, like, you're safe.
Yeah.
And I felt for Lindsay in a way because I think it is hard to not be paranoid when everyone's, like, telling you that you're safe.
Yeah.
It's a hard balance to strike, I think, where it's like you really never should feel safe in Survivor, but also like you do have to like show some trust in people. But I mean, she clearly just got a little too paranoid. I actually don't mind the move because I think if someone is that unstable with your like alliance at that point, When things actually get like really hard and you have to make like harder decisions and more like complicated votes and maybe you get worried about like swaying alliances and stuff. You want people who are like fully committed and fully trust you, and if someone is like not totally convinced that you're not lying to their face, then maybe you can't have an alliance with them. So that sucks. It kind of becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think, in a way. So it was a bummer to see here go, but I don't think it was necessarily the wrong choice.
Right.
Either. Although I did think it was interesting, like Ryan and her seemed on like a complete opposite sides, which we didn't really get a lot of that, like in terms of like explanation, but I did find that interesting because I don't really know where Ryan stands within that tribe at all.
And I thought he was going to be the one that they would vote off because he struggled in the challenge to knock down those cubes, struggled putting the puzzle together. But then, of course, Vesi's helping.
Which was
so weird.
I don't know that I really remember that happening all that much. And
Ever.
I
remember like in individual challenges here and there, but tribe to help tribe was a very strange
I guess
move.
they just really wanted Coco to have to go to tribal.
I also really liked the reward in that challenge where you win, the reward, and then you get the opportunity to go to the other tribe and take something from them. I thought that was a unique twist that I don't know if we've ever seen. If we have, it's been a long time. And I think the way that it all turned out was a positive for Vesi because they walked away with a king's ransom from Coco, getting their fishing gear, getting a whole bunch of food to bring back as well. And we're waving the white flag right now, Matt. Kyle Gibson now enters the game for the Phillies.
You mean Cy Gibson? Hey, you know what? I believe in this team still. That's all I'll say.
Oh, yeah. I feel good going back to Philly.
I still feel good about this game. You could... 4 runs, baby. We could have a 4-run inning again. I believe in that. I'm not going to say it's going to happen. But,
It could. But going into tonight's episode, how do we feel with how the dynamic has now shifted? Everybody's been to tribal now. Everyone's gotten a taste of what that feeling is like, and it seems like a lot of chaos is on the verge of happening in between a whole bunch of tribes. Especially, they've been building up like this like dynamic on the yellow tribe where like they just hate each other, and it feels like it's starting to reach that boiling point.
Yeah, I think we just need to see them go to a tribal to kind of see that like truly like blossom into something like tangible, because right now we're just seeing I don't know. We're seeing nothing
at all.
We're just getting like we're getting just the the like little snippets, and little vignettes from them, and maybe some for like the preview and stuff, but in terms of like actual like content, it really just seems like Gabler versus Ellie. Those are like two like kind of spearheading the hatred, I guess, in the division.
And then it's like everyone's got like laser focus on Owen, and he just seems to not really be doing too much like in the spotlight, but it seems like he's like plotting and scheming.
Owen is like, to me, Xander, it's like everyone is kind of like wants to get him out, but I think he's gonna be safe because there are just like other more like pressing targets lying around.
Yeah, it's and it's weird because like the way things have it's so different, I think, from the first two like accelerated seasons we've had, where like you still don't really have a read on anybody 9 days into this thing.
Right. I feel like we've bounced around so much.
Yeah,
that it's been hard to really get a solid read. I don't know what it is, but I liked Jesse so far. I think he's had some good moments, and we'll see. Seems like well put together. I can see why he's a lot of people's favorite. Cody, I think he'll go far. I think where he's been a little bit though, he's a little bit of a wild card, and I think he kind of. I mean, I think he played the the situation well. Like, he started with the machete. I actually thought his reasoning was like, yeah, of course they're going to make you like any deal possible now that you've put it on the table. You might take the machete. So he did get a little more than maybe he thought he would. But I do worry with him sometimes. Like, he seems to have this like bluntness about him that I think it just seems like maybe rubs people the wrong way, which could be an obstacle. But James looks good.
Yeah.
I like our pick so far.
Still feeling good.
He has a good role where he seems to be like a core part of Alliance, but he's also getting like that soother that like has those like good relationships with people.
He's like a Danny Deshaun combo.
Yeah.
Which is good. So we'll see how that all plays out tonight. Make sure you guys follow @BuffsandSnuffs on Twitter for all your Survivor updates. And, of course, follow us on the socials @UndergroundPHI on Twitter, Instagram. Follow Matt on Twitter @Matt Castorina. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Check out the website, undergroundsportsphiladelphia.com. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. Really helps the show when you subscribe. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. If you've already subscribed, you can unsubscribe and resubscribe. It plays with the algorithm that way as well. And of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. You get full video episodes of all of our podcasts on the network. We're on that road to 1K challenge. We're at 255 YouTube subscribers now. Get us to 1,000, and big things will pop off, and we can continue to make dope content for you guys at an even bigger level. And smash that like button, ring the bell icon, comment down below your thoughts on the Phils and the NLCS, the Eagles being undefeated, the Union getting set for their semifinal match in the MLS Cup playoffs, how you're feeling about the 3-0 Flyers, the Sixers, anything in between Survivor. Let us know in the comment section below. Shout out to our sponsors, Main Auto LLC, Ducharme's Pro Foot Security 21 Security Systems, Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated, the Dental Wellness Center of Vineland, Tomahawk Shades Pickup, Kenwood Beer, Beano Board, and of course, our new pals, PHI Apparel Co. All of their information and promo codes and links and everything are in the description on YouTube and in the show notes on audio. This has been episode number 474, another Red October edition of Underground Sports Philadelphia. For Matt, I'm KB. Till next time, we are signing off. Peace.